I have been asked multiple times to make a video of my YouTube studio or my workspace, and I kept postponing it until recently I decided to redesign the whole space, and I thought now is the best time to make that video happen. So, welcome to my brand new YouTube studio. This is a very small room. I don't have a separate place where I do my work and I record my YouTube videos. This is just the den that I have in my apartment. So it is 9 feet by 7.5 feet, which is 2.7 by 2.3 meters roughly. And it is very challenging to achieve a decent looking YouTube setup in a place like this for several reasons. First, this room does not have any windows, so there is no natural light coming in. Every light is artificial light, and it has to be positioned in a really smart way so it can look like I have natural light coming in. Secondly, the size of the room is a huge challenge in itself. There is not much space to put a desk, to put the backgrounds and the light stands and basically the whole equipment. So the space itself is the biggest challenge. But nevertheless, I still managed to achieve something that looks really good. So let's break down the whole room. Let's check out what I have in my background and what I have on my desk. So before we dive into the setup, let's talk about the background first. I have two IKEA Billy shelves. Nothing fancy, just plain white shelves. And on them I have everything that pretty much represents me. I have my keyboards, I have my instruments, I have my books, etc. Let's check out the keyboards. This is the first mechanical keyboard that I've owned. This is the Keychron Q1. Really sturdy construction, all metal construction. And fun fact, this is the first keyboard, or this is the keyboard that I learned touch typing on. So that was last year. I have no idea why I waited so long to learn touch typing, but if you don't know touch typing or if you haven't learned touch typing until now, trust me, it is well worth the time investment. Basically, touch typing changed the way that I use keyboards, and for the better. So this is a pretty thick keyboard, as you can see, and I used it without a wrist pad, which caused some pain in my wrists. That prompted me to start looking into more ergonomic keyboards. And that's when I got the legend, the Kinesis Advantage 1. This is a legendary keyboard. This model exactly, based on the label at the back, is from 2002. So this is a 20-something-year-old keyboard. Still super comfortable. One of the most comfortable keyboards that I've ever used in my life, and I love it. I miss using it. The only issue that I had personally with this keyboard is that it's too big. I wanted to take it to the office whenever I go. I need a separate bag in order to do that. So because of that, that got me thinking about getting a new keyboard, which is still going to be split keyboard, like this one. It's still going to have the thumb keys that I have gotten so used to, and I will probably never go back to regular keyboards. And that's when I got the ZSA Voyager, which is my daily driver now. But I'm gonna talk about it later. The coolest thing about this keyboard is that the keys are put in a key wells. As you can see, the keys are in an arch or like a hole. And that hole or that arch follows the curved movement that your finger makes when you do this, when you type. And that's what's making it super comfortable to use, because it's literally designed to follow the movement of your fingers. And that was my Kinesis. And I also have another mechanical keyboard that I don't really use, but I just like it. This is my custom Sentry keyboard. It has the same form factor as the Keychron keyboard with an extra key on this side, but everything else is pretty much the same. Again, sturdy metal construction, super heavy. I only use it to display my trophies. So I have 2 trophies on it. This is a custom keycap that the company gave us for a special event. And this keycap is a trophy because my team won at Hack Week this year, which is a company-wide hackathon. So yeah, this is another keyboard that I own. And those were my keyboards. I'm gonna talk later about the actual keyboard that I use. Now, let's talk about my books. So I'm not an avid reader, but I still have some books that I appreciate and want to recommend. So if you're a software developer, you should definitely check out Designing Data-Intensive Applications and also The Fundamentals of Software Architecture. The first one is more of a reference manual. The second one is more of a back-to-back read. Another good one is Working in Public. This one is especially good if you're working on open source projects and out in the open on GitHub. And definitely this one. You should definitely check this one out. And this is not just for software developers. It's basically for anyone making anything, I would say. This book basically helps you develop a product mindset. So whatever you're working on, whether that's a software product or a YouTube video like I'm doing right now, you should definitely check it out. I'm not going to get into more detail on the rest of the stuff that we have here. For example, I have my guitars over here, my acoustic guitar, my electric guitar, and I also have my guitar amplifier. I'm not going to focus on them. I'm just going to play you some B-rolls so you can have a general idea of everything that is on my shelves. Now let's turn our focus over to this setup. So I'm doing all of this just so I can achieve this. A nice view with me in the middle, my good microphone in front of me, and both my monitors to the sides. I've tried so many setups at this point, but this one seems to be the perfect one. Why? First, it is ergonomically correct for me, for my body. I can work long hours in the day and not get any muscle pain or muscle soreness. Second, all it takes for me to start creating YouTube videos or live streaming is to turn on the camera, turn on these 2 lights, and hit the record button. Everything is already set up. And thirdly, even when I'm not creating content, the whole setup is just countable. I can sit here, do my coding, do my technical writing, take all of the meetings that I have. It just works. All right, so let's go back to the other camera and break down this whole setup piece by piece. First, let's talk about the chair and the desk. Both of them are from Motion Gray, which is a Canadian ergonomics furniture company. And they're nothing fancy, but they are super functional. So the chair is a standard office chair with mesh back. I just removed the headrests and also the armrests because I tend to sit cross-legged. And the desk is a standing desk. Although I gotta be honest, ever since I started going to the gym regularly, I don't really use it in standing mode. But it's still important to invest in a standing desk because that's how you achieve correct ergonomics. If you have a fixed desk and your chair is the only thing that can be adjusted, then your chair might not go as high as you need it to go or as low as you need it to go. So to compensate on the versatility or the lack of versatility of your chair, you're gonna need a standing desk. So I've done quite some research on ergonomics and how to properly set up your workspace. Do let me know in the comments below if you want me to make a more detailed video on how to achieve those ergonomics. But now, let's move on to the monitors. So I have a dual monitor setup, as you can see. On the left I have the BenQ RD280UA, And on the right, I have an LG, I forgot the model, but both of these are 4K monitors. Both of them are 28-inch. The BenQ is 4x3 and the LG is 16x9. So if I'm recording my screen, if I'm creating content, I'm actually using the LG. But if I'm just coding and looking at code without necessarily creating content, I'm definitely using the BenQ. BenQ recently reached out to me and they sent me this monitor so I can review it. And I'm super excited about it because this monitor has some features that I haven't seen in any of the monitors. It is built specifically for developers, for people who write code all day. I'm not getting into too much detail. Keep an eye on the channel, subscribe if you haven't already, and look out for the review video that I'm gonna drop real soon. Right in front of me, I have the Shure SM7B microphone. And I picked this one for a very valid reason, because it is a dynamic microphone. The difference between a dynamic microphone and a condenser microphone is that the condenser microphone is super sensitive, at least compared to the dynamic microphones. That means for this purpose, where I'm recording just speech and not necessarily ambient music or just ambient sounds, the dynamic microphone is going to be better because it's going to cut out all of that, I would say, noise automatically or just by nature. This is a legendary microphone that Michael Jackson used it on Thriller, Metallica used it, and I also use it. Because this microphone is an XLR microphone, it's not a USB microphone, I need something to plug it in so I can plug that thing into my laptop. And that thing is the Rodecaster Pro. I plug my microphone into the Rodecaster, and then the Rodecaster is going to clean up the sound because it has audio processing built in, and also convert it from analog to digital and send it over to my laptop. This way, I get the cleanest possible sound that I can get without necessarily relying on my processing power on my computer and also on any external software that I need to install on the computer. So the computer receives pre-cleaned up voice, which is really cool. Now let's talk about the camera. It is a Sony a6300, which is, I think, the cheapest 4K Sony alpha camera out there in the market. It is pretty old, but it is still relevant because I like how it looks like. It's actually my first mirrorless camera. On the camera, I have the Sigma 16mm lens. It is not a zoom, it is a prime lens. And this combination, the Sony a6300 and also the Sigma 16mm, was the industry standard a few years back. All of the vloggers actually use this combination, so I got it. I still like it. The camera and the lens are just as important as the lighting. So let's switch over to this camera to demonstrate the lighting. So I have two light sources and one RGB decorational light in the background. Let's talk about the key light, the main light. I have the newer CB150 light, which is a continuous video light. And on it I have mounted the Aperture Light Dome Mini softbox. The softbox is important because it diffuses the light, so it doesn't create those harsh shadows. It produces soft shadows, and that is the professional look. So what I do is just, I turn it on using my remote. This is how it looks like without the light. This is how it looks like with the light. And I currently have it set at 8%. But I picked a much brighter light than I actually need, because right now it provides the light that I need without necessarily turning on the fan and making noise in this room. I have put the honeycomb texture on the softbox just so I can prevent light from spilling out. Right now, this light only illuminates me. When I illuminate myself, I'm actually separated from the background. And that was the key light. Now let's talk about the ambient light. It's still newer, but this time it is the FS150. Instead of a regular softbox, I actually got a lantern softbox, or also called a China ball, so I can still diffuse the light and avoid creating any harsh shadows, but illuminate the whole room evenly, as if I had a window. I have this light, the ambient light, turned on to 20%, and I'm going to turn it off so you can see the difference. this is how it looks like without the ambient light. And turning it back on. It is definitely better than the regular ceiling light, so it was definitely worth the investment. The RGB light that I have in the background is an older light that I used to have. It's basically an outdoor RGB light. Nevertheless, it's a cool little accent light that I currently have set as the lighter green color of the leaves of the plant. Yeah, it just makes things nice. Okay, now let's go back to the other camera. Let's talk about how all of this connects and goes to my computer. So everything connects to the Thunderbolt dock that I have on my desk here. This is the Corsair TBT 200, and I need this because we know laptops nowadays, they just don't have enough input ports. So we need Thunderbolt docks. This dock is, I would say, perfect for this scenario because it accepts everything that I have. For example, both of my monitors are connected to the Corsair. My keyboard is connected to the Corsair. My Rodecaster Pro is connected to the Corsair, except for the camera. The camera goes directly into the laptop because it just needs more power, I guess. And I also have wired connection, an Ethernet cable connected to my Thunderbolt dock, so I don't have to rely on wireless signal. I have more stable internet this way. So it gets all of those inputs and it sends everything through this cable to my laptop. My laptop is the 2021 MacBook Pro 16-inch. It is the M1 Max version with 32 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of SSD. And this is the only machine that I have. I do my work on this machine. I record my YouTube videos on this machine. I'll use this machine for live streaming, for video editing, really capable machine. And I don't feel like I need a more powerful machine at this time. So I'm just gonna keep using it. Now let's talk about the mouse. This is the Logitech MX Master 3S for Mac. And this is the most comfortable mouse that I've ever used. I like it because it has more buttons and features than the regular mouse. For example, it has a horizontal scroll wheel, and it also has a thumb button that I have programmed to zoom into websites. For example, I will press the thumb button, drag the mouse up, and that will zoom in a website. This mouse definitely has a visible wear and tear, but I'm going to use it until it disintegrates. And when that day comes, I will most likely switch over to a trackball mouse, which should be more comfortable to use. Until then, it's going to be the MX Master. And now let's talk about the thing that everybody asks about, my keyboard. So this is the ZSA Voyager. This is the Kinesis replacement that I got a while ago. And it has been my daily driver ever since I got it. It is still a mechanical keyboard. It is a low profile, so you can see how thin it is. It comes with its own pouch, so you can carry it places, in offices, etc. And the best thing is that it is programmable. I don't use any legends on my keycaps, I just use the blank keycaps because I think it looks cooler, and I know touch typing, remember, I learned that last year. So yeah, the blank keycaps are on. I have it programmed so that I have a regular keyboard right now, but if I press and hold this button, I have a different layer which reprograms some of the buttons. The red buttons are right now the arrows, left, down, up and right, and the blue buttons are page up and down and home and end. Really, really cool keyboard. And just like the mouse, I'm actually going to use this until it disintegrates. I love it. It's my daily driver. And I'm actually using these magnetic phone holders from Ugreen, I think was the brand, so I can have the keyboard be set at a specific angle, 20 degrees specifically. And these are really good, these are really sturdy. So for example, you can set up the angle as you like and it's going to stay there. No matter how hard you type, it's not going to change. Well, maybe occasionally I need to do some minor adjustment, but that takes like 10 seconds tops. Yeah, I really like these. super portable as well, so they can fit easily into any backpack. And yeah, this is my setup. I will post a link in the description to the configuration that I use on my ZSA, so you can see, and of course if you have any questions, do let me know in the comments below. Now I got two more items that I need to mention, and that is the camera and the microphone that you're seeing from and hearing right now. So behind that camera is my wife, say hello. And that camera is the Sony FX30, which is the, I think, the cheapest Sony cinema camera. So it's not a photographs camera, it's a filmmaker's camera. It's optimized for video and not photography. And it has features like a shutter angle, LUT embedding, installing custom LUTs, etc. Really cool camera, high-end. I wish I could use it more. And on it I have the Sigma 18 to 50mm lens. This is a really good lens, pretty versatile, so it can work in a vlog type of or like handheld type of situation, but it can also zoom in and do a good portrait shots. And the microphone is the HoloLens Lark M2. This microphone is really good. I used to have the Rode Wireless Pro, and that one is, I think, about 2 or 3 times more expensive than this one. But ever since I switched to this one, I can't really justify the 2 or 3 times more expensive price, because they don't sound 2 or 3 times better than these. I love it because it's so tiny. It's probably the tiniest wireless microphone out there. And what's good about its size is that it's not going to tug on your shirt where you wear it. The features that it lacks are, for example, 32-bit recording, or on-device recording, or the ability to plug in a lavalier microphone. It does not have those features, but for the type of content that I create, I don't need those features. So yeah, really love this microphone. That was the last thing on my list. This is basically everything that I have in my YouTube studio or live streaming studio, or just a regular workspace where I do my technical writing and when I write code. Again, if you have any questions about a specific thing that I mentioned and want to know more details about it, do let me know in the comments below, or join my Discord server and we'll talk about it over there. If you haven't subscribed already, please do, because why not? And also, make sure to keep an eye on my channel if you're interested to see the BenQ review video. I'm going to be publishing that one real soon. Alright, so I hope you learned a thing or two. Thank you for watching. I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care.